before we actually deep into the subject. So innovation is a very important landmark to study the dispersal of any knowledge and technological developments, not only in India, but across the world. So any new idea, it could be an idea, it could be a phenomenon, it could be a practice evolving in any field of study. And for the present study, we will take it to be agriculture. And its various disciplines are known as innovation. Now, if an innovation is evolved in the field of digitization and modern digital knowledge, it is generally quoted as digital innovation. And such digital innovation may be in the field of new electronic ways of money transfer, which we call it to be e-transfer of money, e-governance, e-commerce, e-literacy, e-health, etc., and many more. So today I would be discussing basically on the diffusion of modern digital innovation in the rural India, leading to its transformation and tremendous change. So now I would like to share a slide with you all. Just give me a second. Sabha, is the slide visible?
No, ma'am.
Yes, please give the full slide view.
I'll do that. Actually, I'm getting a small message here. This which is yes. Now, is it okay? So
yes.
Here I go with the topic. It is the diffusion of modern digital technology and use of geoinformatics as a geographer that I rely on, which is actually paving a way and a move towards rural transformation in India. So let us try to understand the concept of diffusion based on a very renowned model in geography, which is the Hagerstrand model of diffusion. So there are basically 4 stages involved in the process of diffusion, and this diffusion usually takes from one spatial unit to the other. So when we are discussing rural India, which is actually a spatial unit, we must try and understand this concept as well. So there are the 4 basic stages. The first is known to be the primary stage. And this is the initial stage when a process is actually introduced. And there are very few adopters. Adopters are who are adopting the new ways of technology. And in the initial phase, definitely, due to haste, due to lack of belief, very few people would be adopting that process. So this is the primary stage. The second stage is known as the diffusion stage. This stage generally lasts from 5 to 10 years with more adopters. When few people would be adopting, they'll be discussing about its pros and cons. And if other people get to benefit it, they will again start to adopt it. So hence the process will take a diffusion stage from one spatial unit to the other. The third is the condensation stage. And this condensation stage actually relies on the number of adopters further increases knowing the advantages of the innovation. Suppose there is one individual who is adopting a particular innovation, being a modern digital innovation, and if he gets benefited, he'll definitely have a mouth, have a word with other people, and hence the process will have its round and round approach. And the fourth is known as the saturation stage. So saturation stage is the ultimate stage whereby almost all the people in the region adopt the innovation. So right now we are in the process of diffusion, and we have actually, the rural India has actually moved from diffusion to the condensation stage as far as the diffusion of modern digital technology is concerned. So this is the stage that I have tried with the help of a stack diagram. This is the primary stage 1. Moving to stage 2, and each time you see there is a jump from diffusion to the condensation stage, and last is the saturation stage. So let us also try to understand when did the process of digitization took place in rural India. So Digital India is actually a campaign launched by the government of India, and we all are aware of this. It was launched on 1st July 2015. And what was the basic purpose? The basic purpose was to ensure that the government services are made available to the citizens. How? Electronically or digitally. And what was the focus? The focus was on high-speed internet networks especially in rural areas. And why rural areas? Because this rural area is carrying two-thirds of India's population, and hence it has a lot of potential for growth and development. So the main focus was to develop rural India. Now, this process consists of three core components. First is the creation of digital infrastructure as a utility to every citizen, governance, and services on demand and digital empowerment of citizens. First, which was most important. The second is the delivery of services digitally. Whatever services are being provided in the rural areas, the main mission of the government that it should run on a digital platform. And the third was how these could be achieved only when people are made digitally literate. Now, what is digitally literate? It's not the ability to read or write with pen or pencil or something like that. No, you must also be literate in context of the use of computers, laptops, smartphones, how to make utilization of the apps, how to make yourself easy with that. So this was also one of the mission of this concept. In order to achieve this mission, there were three supporting pillars. And it works both in but in rural, it plays a dominant role because actually the system is not on the mainstream. So the first is the banking system. Yes, the banking system needs to be developed and it also needs to be digitized. The second is the digital literacy. Yes, that we discussed. And most important is the willingness of the people. That means people should actually be willing. So the entire crux of the discussion solely depends upon the willingness on the part of rural inhabitants to first of all accept the modern transformed technology and second willing to adapt to these new technologies. If they are not willing, then whatever the government is initiating or doing for them will just go null and void. So, how diffusion of modern digital technology in rural India can actually take place? We will try to look at this concept on three parameters. The first is the diffusion of digital literacy, second, diffusion of e-healthcare facilities, and third, diffusion of financial services and online infrastructure. And we'll be discussing each one of them one by one. So, let us try to understand this particular thing. Yes, let me just move it very fast. Actually, diffusion is taking place. The first process is the awareness stage. And if I am a potential adopter of modern digital technology, I must be aware of the existence of a particular innovation. And how do I get aware? Either through interpersonal channel or through television, through radios, published articles related to innovation. So in rural areas, since the literacy rate is very, very low, so we cannot expect people to read like journals. Yes, sometimes they read newspapers, but the best way is television and radios. Then they come to know about, okay, this particular thing has been initiated by government for our benefit. So let us try to adopt it. Once they are aware about the thing, they pay attention. And this attention actually leads to the new innovation that, okay, my neighbor has actually adopted. Let me see what is the outcome on him. If it is positive on him, then I am also going to adopt. The third is the evaluation stage. So what does the potential adopter do? They actually prepare a balance sheet to see its pros and cons and evaluate its after effects. The fourth is the trial stage. That means they are actually putting it on a trial basis. They are not giving the entire all their infrastructure and everything, just a nick of it, and they put it on a trial. And if it is found successful, then finally comes the adopting stage. And this is the entire 5 stage that is being followed in rural India as far as the penetration of digital technology is concerned. Until now, we have not reached fully to the adaptation stage. We are still in the trial stage. So the spread of digital knowledge in rural India is no doubt considered to be a naive step, unique in its own way, and a selfless move to digitally educate the illiterate masses. And how it can be done? Yes, one of the very popular way of making people aware about these things is through Nukkar Natak. That is the live stream play. We also do it in our college to make people aware about certain new things that has come up. So also, reliance on all these digital modes of communication like first computers, smartphones, knowledge about the mobile apps, the digital banking system can actually go a long way in providing them a hassle-free with many more advantages. So what are the advantages of penetration of digital literacy? these weak people in the rural areas, they can actually raise their voice against any injustice done. Suppose if they were not at all aware about the things that the government of India is floating for them, they would not able to understand that what are the benefits for them and how they are being exploited. So this gives them the voice. Second is awareness about social welfare programs launched by government of India. When they are literate or digitally active, they can get to know that these programs have been. Also, they can participate in the decision making process, and that is most important, because in India we see most of the decision is being made at the center, whereby the small people who have very weak bargaining power or who are illiterate or poor, they do not have a say in the decision making part. If they are literate digitally, if they are socially active, they can actually put their ideas and views on the developmental activities and how, through the web portal, in general of their regions where they are staying, in which part of India they belong to, which religion, which caste, it hardly matters. But since they are digitally active, they can have their voice in that. Fourth, they can be mainstreamed with the global world. Yes, that is also important. So these movements of campaigns of digital literacy and computer awareness can actually help them build their self-confidence and lead them a dignified life with security and peace at heart. This is a map that I have purposefully put. This is a part of a project that I'm actually engaged in with ICSSR. And this particular map is showing fully it is a rural district of Siddharth Nagar, which is lying in the border areas of India. And main focus is to make the rural people aware and the use of modern digital technology. So based on this, they have started using advanced harrows and cultivators. Previously, वो पुराने हल होते हैं ना, उनसे वो लोग agriculture करते थे. They were not like made aware. So with the help of the Haggard stand model, that कैसे इसका advantage क्या होता है, they have started shifting. Also, they have started shifting their agriculture to advanced threshing machines. जितने भी modern equipments या implements होते हैं, they have started actually utilizing it. Why? Because now they have made themselves digitally literate. They have also decided upon that cropping intensity हमारी कैसी होगी, किस तरीके से हम इसको initiate करें, so we are going to get maximum production and maximum yield. And most importantly, they have also now recognized the use of chemical fertilizers कि उसकी कितनी dose डालने से how much productivity and yield we are going to get, and if we put an extra dose, it is going to prove detrimental for the plant. So this was one of the success story that I came across in my project. Now let us move to digitization of healthcare services. So in a massively populated country like India, we all know India is the second most populated country. Digitization will provide better healthcare access to human resources. Definitely, we'll see how it can be done. Now, it has its potentiality will enable the healthcare industry to manage its huge volume of data. We all know healthcare services is a very big and very bright industry, carrying a lot of data. But these data needs to be filed at one place and discharged as and when required. But all these data needs validation and analysis by its ability of critical computing and analytical ability. So see here, when it has actually penetrated in the urban areas, why not in the rural areas? Do you remember a like case? I have it in my mind when for our mothers and fathers, when we have to take them to hospitals, we need to personally go early in the morning, 3-4 बजे, और जाके डॉक्टर्स के लिए अपॉइंटमेंट लेना पड़ता था. And then we used to wait in queues and everything. But now all these digitization process has actually made life very simple. We have the portal where we can go, we can find the doctors, we can choose a doctor of our choice, we can see what are the time slots available, and accordingly we can book the slots also, and definitely we can make payment also through digital wallets. So life has become simple in urban areas. So why not in rural areas, when rural area is carrying a lot of potentiality, and that is a must. So it involves certain basic steps. What are that? The first and the most important is the mobile health, which we term to be M health. And it can prove to be a boon by saving the precious time of medical practitioners. Yes, उनका भी time बहुत बचता है. And doctors, by providing a common and balanced database of patients consisting information such as X-ray, CT scan, and other clinical information and the progress taking place. Like in India, we have Aadhaar card, isn't it? So if you put your Aadhaar card, you will get all the basic information of that particular person. So the same thing, it is actually happening, and it has started at some places in rural India, whereby when a particular person goes and meets a doctor, and there is a card-like system, he gets to know everything, all the illness, past illnesses, what are the current process that it is going through, if the patient has passed through some tests and all the record would be there. He need not ask in person कि आपको क्या बीमारी है या फिर आपको पहले की क्या history है. Everything would be there. So it is saving a time on the part of the patients also and the medical practitioners also. So all these fruitful and time-saving measures would also help the patients to know about their progress from their beds. Yes, lying on the bed, they have all these mobile apps, and they can just click it and they can go कि मेरे health में क्या क्या progress आ रहा है. And this has been released by the World Health Organization way back in 2011. But in India, it took very late to get disseminated. Now, most importantly, the core process within the institutions also becomes automated, making early detection and quick diagnosis, proving it to be quite impactful. Now, the second most important revolution in the medical field that we can say in context of digital technology is the telemedicine. And this telemedicine actually it bridges the urban-rural divide by extending low-cost consultation and diagnosis facilities to the remotest areas, which were not accessible. Suppose there are no roads through which we can access those areas, but if there is an internet penetration, definitely with high-speed internet and telecommunication, that person can also have an access to the medical facilities and at a very low cost consultation charges. So this is also taking place and mostly in the rural areas of mountainous areas of India, northeastern portion. Now with telemedicine, hospitals will also be able to lower the cost of patient care and increase the effectiveness of chronic disease management. And the last healthcare that I would like to stress is the electronic health record. Yes, that I was mentioning through a card system. It has a chip, and once you just swipe it, you get all the information of the patients. So what is the need of the hour in context of healthcare services? We must have a stable source and supply of electricity and internet services in every rural area so as to facilitate IT innovations applied, and government is working a lot in this field. Second, online individual account access to healthcare services by general citizens, and it will have availability of certain specialists at certain point of time to book and early appointments. And the most important thing, we can actually make use of GIS technology. Now, how? There is a system which is known as buffer analysis. And this buffer analysis actually chooses a point. And from that point, it actually creates a layer based on certain distance. So suppose if we want to put some or develop some new healthcare facilities, we must be knowing what is the exact location or exact spatial unit where we could develop a hospital. So what is done in GIS? Actually, we choose some random locations, and based on those random locations, we create a buffer of 250 kilometer, 100 kilometer, 200, 300, 400, 500, and 600. So similarly, based on different locations, we have created different buffers, and the intersection point of these buffers is actually going to decide that, okay, if I establish a hospital here, maximum population would be catered to it. So this is known as the process of GIS layer of buffering, which is quite common and quite rampant in the rural areas, and it is actually achieving a success. I'll show you a picture. Picture also I have got. I'll discuss it later. Now, the hospitals and the clinic staffs can also avail IT facilities, making data management hassle-free and strengthening the telemedicine sector by hiring more efficient staff. Now, yes, there are some success stories also that I would like to focus. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ ये अभी early phase में है. It has actually achieved success also in some parts of rural India. So first is the Arogya Sakhi, which is a program, and it is a very noble program. It is actually a mobile application that helps the rural women entrepreneurs to deliver preventive health care at rural doorsteps. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है गांव में जो औरतें होती हैं वो घर से बाहर नहीं जा सकती, but they need all these medical facilities. So for them, especially Arogya Sakhi has been develop. So the women going to their doorsteps are actually equipped with tablets and mobile healthcare devices like glucometer, blood pressure checking machine. They visit homes and collect data from the village women, and they keep it in their data record. And this data can be accessed by doctor at any location who could provide relevant advice to the patients remotely. आपके घर के पास से कोई कनेक्टिविटी नहीं है रोड की, लेकिन अगर आपका डेटा आरोग्य सखी ऐप के थ्रू डाउनलोड हो गया और रिकॉर्ड हो गया, एंड इफ यू आर फेसिंग एनी प्रॉब्लम, द डॉक्टर्स कैन डायरेक्टली कॉन्टैक्ट यू through all these mobile apps or digital method without actually coming in contact with you. सारा record मिल जाता है, and they can provide you the basic medicines also. Yes, this is the GIS buffer analysis that I was talking about. See, these are nothing but the hospitals, and this is just a name approach that, okay, I am going to develop some hospital here based on a layering of map. This could be 100 kilometer, 200, 300, 400, and 500. And based on these, I am getting some layers. These are the three different approaches. And whenever there is an intersection point, so we can say, suppose this particular thing, it is an intersection of this location also, and this is an intersection of this location also. So instead of developing a hospital here, let me develop an hospital here so that all these population can easily get direct access and benefit to these particular things. Let me move ahead. So private investors like Hewlett Packard, this is a recent example that I've come across, have recently introduced e-health centers partnering and have actually provided advanced but portable technologies like the cloud-based electronic medical record, EMR, and analytics. We all know the present generation is the generation of artificial intelligence and cloud computing, whereby the data is actually recorded somewhere in the cloud and it is stored at a specific servers. So these foreign country private-based company has actually suggested that there should be some portable technologies like the cloud-based electronic medical record, which is in India still not, it has been activated, it is in the trial stage, and it can put a further transformation to the rural areas as far as the healthcare services are provided. Sabha, do I have time?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can continue. You have time.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Now, the third basic area that I would like to focus in today's discussion is the digitization of, or we can say, in money transfer vis-a-vis cash transaction. And this is a major area of concern that I would like to focus, which has achieved increased significance in the modern pandemic situation. बहुत ज़्यादा इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस बढ़ गई है. Let us see पहले क्या था और अब कैसे ये चेंज हुआ है. So the circulation, we all know, circulation of currencies in economic activities and it as a ratio to GDP proves to be a key impediment in the transformation to a cashless and digital economy. मतलब मार्केट में कितना मनी एक्चुअली सर्कुलेशन में है and what is its ratio in context of GDP actually determines the level of economic development in the country. ऐसा नहीं है अगर इंडिया में ज़्यादा सर्कुलेशन है तो level of economic development कम होगा. But yes, the main mission is to transform the Indian economy from a cash-based to a cashless economy. So the cash transaction in Indian economy is one of the highest in the world. You should be knowing that. And India's cash to GDP ratio, which is an indicator of the amount of cash used in the economy, stands up to be 12.5% in 2016 compared with 9.5% in China, or you can imagine just 4% in Brazil. And this ratio has increased further to 13.5% in 2018. Though the government has started the Digital India campaign, yet it will take some time to regulate the cashes in the market and to transform it into a cashless economy. But the good news is that this ratio will increase to many-fold in the present pandemic situation with cashless transaction getting an added booster. क्योंकि आज के present pandemic crisis में we all do not want to touch the money, so everything is happening through digital mode, be it in the form of Paytm. There are various apps that we would be discussing it. So yes, now the Indian economy is going cashless. And what is a cashless economy? A cashless economy is one in which all the transactions are done using digital means. Also a massive interest among the people, particularly the rural youth, because every time I'm going and to go cashless, yes, they are willing. So when we were discussing about the three pillars, the third pillar works very well in the rural India. And it includes options and services like the ubiquitous nature of debit and credit cards. That means, yes, it can be used everywhere, be it urban area or rural area. The second is the facility of online banking system, or we have the net banking. Prepaid and electronic cards are also available in the market. And smartphone-based apps, including banking apps and other digital wallet apps, are also existence, and it is also quite popular in rural areas. Payment banks, we have unified payment interface, which we usually call UPI, which is an instant money transfer verified with an email and a text message from your bank. So all these facilities are actually helping to make Indian economy going cashless and more prominently in the rural India. So why these things are actually popular? There must be certain reason for the popularity and acceptance of cashless transaction. So let us try to identify क्यों ये actually popular हो रहा है rural India में और लोग इसको adopt क्यों करना चाहते हैं. First, a young and enterprising and enthusiastic population base that, yes, India is having. Not only India, it is the rural India that is having a very young and enterprising with enthusiastic population base. Rising number of smartphones and internet users in rural India, it has penetrated very deeply, because in urban India already it was in existence. But since urban India is carrying only 1/3 of the population, so if we want to develop India, we need to develop the rural counterparts. Also, there is an urge and willingness to learn how to operate internet and smartphones. शहर के लोग हैं, उनको already आता है. They don't have that much of interest, but the rural people who actually lack the basic literacy, they want to know ये कैसे काम होता है, नया फोन है, छोटा सा फोन है, इसमें कितने सारे apps है, इस app से हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं. So they have that interest and willingness on their part. Fourth, to compete and to adapt to urban world and urban lifestyle. Yes, why not? If we are staying in the rural India, we would definitely like to compete with the urban lifestyle and the urban world. और उसके लिए अगर हमें digital literacy चाहिए या digital penetration, yes, as a rural inhabitant, I am ready to adopt that. Also, they are getting an opportunity for participation and involvement in the various decision-making process of government. जब इतना सब होने के बाद they'll get a say in the decision making process. Why not? क्यों नहीं सीखेंगे? जरूर सीखना चाहेंगे. Also, to get awareness of the various welfare programs and schemes launched by government for the all-round development of rural India. Many a times, the rural people, they feel that we are left out. We are not into the decision making process. क्यों? क्योंकि हम literate नहीं हैं, हमें कंप्यूटर चलाना नहीं आता, हमें मोबाइल चलाना नहीं आता, हम ब्लॉग्स नहीं लिख सकते, हम अपने व्यूज को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर सकते. अगर ये सब चीजें करके if we actually have a say in the decision making process, let us try to understand, let us try to learn. The government has also supported them. How? By providing training to the youth. And these youth, when they get trained, they also train the old age population living in the rural areas. पता नहीं आप लोगों ने ये चीज देखा है या नहीं. गाँव में अगर आप जाओगे, अब वो पहले वाला गांव नहीं रहा. वहाँ पे लोग स्मार्टफोन्स यूज करते हैं, बहुत सारी नई मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करते हैं, और सिर्फ यंग नहीं, जो घर में बड़े बूढ़े बैठे होते हैं, उनके पास भी आप जाओगे तो बहुत अच्छे से स्मार्टफोन को यूज करते हैं और अपने इंडिजिनस नॉलेज को वो शेयर करते हैं यूथ के साथ. और यूथ उस चीज को फिर वेब पोर्टल पे डाल के और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के वेबसाइट पे या जो भी नए वेलफेयर प्रोग्राम्स है उसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए दे एक्चुअली प्रोवाइड सजेशन. So all these has happened how? With the diffusion and the penetration of the modern digital technology. So yes, and last, all these things actually focus on the rural-centric approach of the government. So there are some digital payment method or e-payment method, which most of you must be knowing, but just to focus, because these have achieved great success in the rural part of India. So first is, I'll focus on digital wallet. So with demonetization, digital wallets have become increasingly widespread and quite popular in rural areas, and it actually acts as an effective and alternative for cash, such as Paytm हो गया, MobiKwik हो गया, बहुत सारे ऐसे मोबाइल बेस्ड एप्स है जिनके थ्रू आप ट्रांजैक्शन कर सकते हैं, फ्री चार्ज, एक्सेट्रा. So first it saves the basic information of the card, क्योंकि अगर आप कार्ड यूज कर रहे हैं तो आपको अपना कुछ बेसिक इन्फॉर्मेशन लाइक कार्ड नंबर, सीवीवी नंबर, ये सब चीजें शेयर करनी पड़ती है. But through all these digital wallets, you don't have to do, you just have to transfer money from your bank to these payment accounts, payment wallets. And once you are making payment, you have to just scan it, या QR code होता है, उसको scan करिए and money gets automatically transferred. So it is considered to be much more secure as far as the debit and the credit cards are concerned. The second is the Ussd transfer. So what is this? It is actually a form of money transfer. Yes, we are discussing money transfer system, but it is independent of internet. मतलब आपको इंटरनेट की जरूरी नहीं है इसमें. Only you need to have a smartphone and can be accessed on all types of mobile. जरूरी नहीं है कि आपका एंड्रॉइड ही हो या फिर ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम कुछ और हो. Any type of mobile phones it can be operated, and you don't need an internet for that. So this is another boon for the rural India. Only what is needed? A USSD code is needed, and this code needs to be dialed from a mobile containing SIM. That is all. Smartphone की भी जरूरत नहीं है. Simple phone हो, उसमें SIM लगा हो, और उस फोन से एक USSD कोड होता है, उसको आप डायल करोगे, and that mobile should be वो मोबाइल नंबर आपके बैंक से कंपल्सरीली रजिस्टर्ड होना चाहिए. And it is popularized as an option to help and assist the rural citizen. क्योंकि अर्बन एरियाज में मोस्टली पीपल यूज स्मार्टफोन्स, तो उनके साथ ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. बट रूरल एरियाज में व्हेन यू डू नॉट हैव प्रॉपर स्मार्टफोन, जिसके पेनिट्रेशन में स्टिल इट विल टेक सम टाइम, वी हैव द नॉर्मल वर्किंग फोन जिसमें बटन्स होते हैं. फ्रॉम योर फोन कंटेनिंग अ सिम, यू जस्ट नीड टू प्रेस अ यूएसएसडी नंबर, और वो आपके रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर से आपके बैंक में जाएगा, और वहां से वो ओके होके फटाफट पेमेंट हो जाता है. So for easy understanding and wider usage, this USSD transfer system has been made available in 11 regional languages of India. Why? Because the regional languages are mostly spoken in the rural areas. So for them to understand and for them to feel confident, it has been developed in 11 regional languages in India. Then next we have the UPI, which is the Unified Payment Interface. It actually emphasizes on mobile banking, but it is based on security. It requires a unique username instead of the standard account details. Account details नहीं चाहिए, एक unique user name रहता है, उसको आप रखिए. And it is unlike the traditional method of money transfer through internet banking or mobile banking. This is considered to be much more safer. Fourth, we have internet banking. All of us are aware about that. Mobile banking, वो भी हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा यूज करते हैं. एंड बहुत ज़्यादा पॉपुलर भी है, रूरल एरियाज में भी ये पॉपुलर है, और पीपल एक्चुअली रिलाई ऑन दैट. एंड इट इज क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग टू नोट दैट मोबाइल बैंकिंग, आउट ऑफ ऑल द सिस्टम दैट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड, the value of mobile banking transaction has grown from 60 billion in 2012-13 to more than rupees 4,000 billion in 2015-16. मतलब रूरल इंडिया में भी मोबाइल बैंकिंग पे अभी लोग ज्यादा फोकस कर रहे हैं. इंटरनेट बैंकिंग के लिए yet the connection or internet connectivity is yet to get penetrated at a deeper level. But yes, all the 5 systems are being utilized in the rural India. So why there is a wider application of digitization? The first is the verbal communication. Now, what do you mean by verbal communication? We all are aware about Prime Minister Narendra Modi starting that Man Ki Baat, radio पे उन्होंने शुरू किया था. So the beginning of a new revolution in verbal. Verbal means you are just talking. You are just hearing. You are not seeing the person. सामने वाला क्या बोल रहा है, पहले भी तो होता था रेडियो के थ्रू. We used to get information about that. I don't know, but my grandparents and parents used to tell. एक कृषि दर्शन कुछ आता था, वो बाद में टेलीविजन पे एयर हुआ, पहले वो ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पे एयर होता था. एंड द पीपल लिविंग इन रूरल एरिया एक्चुअली दे यूज्ड टू सिट वेरी अटेंटिवली एंड दे यूज्ड टू हियर about the plant breeding, सारा कुछ related with agriculture. So the same thing actually I want to advocate that the beginning of a new revolution in verbal communication by Prime Minister of India through Man Ki Baat, connecting through radio frequency signals aired on All India Radio, is an august mission indeed, and it has been developed specially to help the rural citizens in India. बिकॉज अर्बन इंडिया में आप कितने लोगों को सुनते हो कि वो रेडियो पर कृषि दर्शन या फिर मन की बात जैसे कार्यक्रम को सुनते हैं. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट दे विल हैव इट बाद में सुन लेंगे या फिर इंटरनेट पे देख लेंगे. सो इट्स स्पेशली फोकस्ड फॉर द रूरल काउंटरपार्ट्स. And we can say that it is an effortless effort made to communicate and connect to the large chunks of India, especially the rural, illiterate masses. अभी तक लिटरेसी लेवल जिनके पास नहीं आया है या फिर बहुत बूढ़े लोग हैं जो अब लिटरेसी नहीं ले पा रहे हैं, उनसे भी कनेक्ट करना इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हाई? बिकॉज दीज old people, aged people have a lot of ancient wisdom and have a lot of traditional knowledge that can actually go in transforming the rural India, and we need to tap them out. So it provides the best available digital medium to the ignorant and illiterate villagers and updates them on various programs and welfare measures adopted by government. Also, they also need their feedback, suggestions. और जब उनसे फीडबैक और सजेशन मांगा जाता है, then they actually feel that yes, we have a say and we can actually participate in transforming this our own rural India. Second is even the elections that were previously taking place on ballot papers and all, it has actually got a transformation. So now what happens? The elections for Gram Panchayat and Sarpanch and many more are now based on computerized systems to which people adhere to with quite ease. ऐसा नहीं उनको डिफिकल्टी है क्योंकि उनको पहले से ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड कर दी जाती है. And interestingly, you know, the results are announced within 3 hours of beginning of the software driven counting. Counting हम हाथों से नहीं करते. सब कुछ everything is put in the software and everything is electronized or digitized. और इलेक्शन शुरू होने के 3 घंटे के अंदर अंदर you get the result. So it's saving their precious time and it's making the rural people confident also. These are some of the success stories that I'm discussing. Accessibility of RO water. Have you ever heard कि रूरल इंडिया में भी लोग RO वाटर यूज करते होंगे? यस, करते हैं क्योंकि उनको सेफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर का कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो गया है, समझ में आ गया है. So with increasing literacy and awareness, rural people have realized the importance of clean and safe drinking water. Now, hence the use of RO water has become increasingly widespread in rural areas. And there is one village that I have personally visited. It's Ganga Devi Palli in Tamil Nadu. There I have seen कि वहाँ पे एक ATM जैसा कार्ड होता है. And how do they use? Purified RO water is made available at very minimum cost. The local residents are provided with an ATM-like card, बिल्कुल ATM जैसा होता है, that needs to be recharged at ₹5. सिर्फ ₹5 में आपको उसको recharge करना है, and the villagers can have access to RO water just by swiping the card that is provided. अभी उस पर कोई limitation नहीं डाला है कि आप ₹5 में कितनी पानी ले सकते हो, because अभी तो उनको पहले like inculcate करना है वो feeling कि you have to switch over from the normal non-safe water to all these safe form of water like RO. अभी से अगर आप limitation डालोगे, then people will stop using it or they'll feel hesitant. So this is a very good approach that I have seen in rural India. Yes, solar power is another where the erratic power supply does not bother the villagers. Why? Because 60% of the project work is based on solar power. जितना आप शहर में नहीं देखेंगे रूरल इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन ऑफ अर्बन एरियाज या फिर सोलर पैनल्स, उससे ज्यादा एग्जांपल सेट किया है रूरल इंडिया ने, एंड दे हैव सेट अ लॉट ऑफ सोलर पैनल्स. गवर्नमेंट इज प्रोवाइडिंग द सब्सिडी क्योंकि ओपन स्पेस बहुत ज्यादा है और वो सन के सोलर एनर्जी को इजीली टैप करते हैं, उसको इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में कन्वर्ट करते हैं, एंड एवरीथिंग is run on the solar system. So this rural India is actually setting an example for the urban India to follow, and it is moving ahead in the form of transformation. बहुत ज़्यादा transformation आया है. Emergence of rural mall. Urban India में तो बहुत mall सुना होगा, but yes, we have rural mall also. And it is made possible due to what? Due to ITC, and which has launched its new innovative rural mall, which is called Chopal Sagar. और इस में ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको बहुत सारी चीजें ब्रांडेड मिलेगी, नहीं, catering to the needs of the rural India. So it stocked wide range of products from consumer durables to the grocery items. वो जो rural India के लोगों को जरूरत हो और वहाँ पे जाके they have the variety, they can make a choices, they can see their pockets and next is E-Kiosks. This is very important concept as far as rural transformation based on modern digital technology is concerned. So large number of rural youth getting training in using computers. Actually, the government of India is targeting the rural youth और उनको training provide कर रही है कैसे कंप्यूटर हम ऑपरेट करेंगे. कंप्यूटर अगर ऑपरेट करना हमने सीख लिया तो बेसिक चीज है लाइक माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ऑफिस, इंटरनेट कैसे यूज करते हैं, कैसे माउस को क्लिक करते हैं, पोर्टल कैसे खुलता है. So all these agents that are providing trainings to the rural youth are known as the internet kiosks, and they are conducting educational and training programs for rural youth. So E-Kiosk for market intelligence, yes, once you have developed your agricultural produce, production बहुत अच्छा हो गया, yield बहुत अच्छा आ गया. Now, where to sell your product? So for that, you need to have a market intelligence. Market intelligence means you should be having a fair knowledge about the existing scenario in the market and how it can be achieved through all these digital penetration.